Welcome to part 2 of my Pokemon Shield Nuzlocke. Rose and Oleana are suspect characters for sure, but they do have information on Dynamax that could prove useful. By defeating Nessa, Galar Mine number 2 was now open. Whoever thought it was a good idea to let a 10-year-old into an active mine should be fired. I'm not even wearing a hard hat. Bede clearly is trying to send us out for our own protection, but I don't care. Adventure! Watto is still hungry after not getting to eat any fish at Nessa's gym. He chomps down onto the first two of Bede's psychic types before being too full to continue. Crash's mind is too linear to be manipulated and goes for the throat against Bede. Poor misunderstood Bede. At least his nice poofy hair probably acts as a cushion substitute for a hard hat. Left to our own devices, this dark mine is all ours to explore and battle in. Inside Galar Mine number 2 are Shuckle, Shellos, Binacle, Noibat, Wimpod, Choodle, and Croagunk and Shield as overworld encounters, and Barboat, Choodle, and Corphish from fishing. There are also Galarian Stunfisk littering the ground. Crash, of course, would be the one to lead me into a Stunfisk bear trap. Crash crashed and burned on this trap today, though. He exploded as Stunfisk retaliated with revenge. Drillman would have to knock out Stunfisk in one go. Claw set up and finish him with a stab to perfect a +1 drill run.
It's a trap!
Galarian Stunfisk are not to be. So we gather to bury Crash and Drillman. Two of a kind, that's what they were. And it seems like we were always winning. But as our team is torn apart, I wish we could turn back time. Who could have guessed that you and I, somehow someday, we'd have to say goodbye? This was not the end. The unbearable burden of lost rounds have to push us forward, even as we are reminded by Drillman by the soft sand. Team Yell picked a bad day to get in our way. Even Hop was angry with them. Barrington's strength crushed opponents as the opposing Linoon could do nothing but look on with her big baby doll eyes. Hopswillow was too weak for the grueling battle. Corvusquire had to take wing into combat. Barrington's savage strength was not tempered by Lynoon's familiar eyes. Barrington knew torment well and sought vengeance. I tempered Barrington by recalling him. Fireproof brought the fury of winter. But I feared Pancham's fighting prowess, and kickers came in to go toe-to-toe. Pancham went for the low sweep to try to slow down Kickers. Kicker's knees throbbed in pain, but it was Corvusquire that Pancham really had to fear. Hop's Corvusquire was having nothing of Team Yell's nonsense, and plucked at them. Fleeing in terror, Team Yell was forced out of the mine by the third gym leader, Kabu. Now with Kabu found and the mine cleared, it was time to search again for a brilliant encounter. The Dreadnought is a one-time encounter and quite dangerous, so I avoided the fearsome bite of the snapping turtle. In only a short time, I spotted the speedy escape artist Wimpod, brilliantly glowing with her back turned, and dashed forward. Wimpod is very frail and will automatically escape if knocked below half health, so I wound up a ball and hurled it at Wimpod. Wimpod was unimpressed, showing he wasn't afraid to put his dukes up despite his diminutive stature. I threw a second ball, and Wimpod, feeling he had shown his mettle, eagerly hopped inside. Popeye the Wimpod joins the party. He is serious about the journey, ready to put his metal claws to work. Leaving the mine at Motostoke outskirts, an opposing Yamper's roar demanded a doggo battle. Watto obliged. glorious victory howled at the moon, evolving into Manectric. Motostoke outskirts can have Coughing, Knockdown, Sudowoodo, Salandit, Patina, and Throw in Shield as overworld encounters. Random encounters can be Roggenrola, Pawniard, Trudel, Impidimp, and Krogunk in Shield. In no time at all, a brilliant Sudowoodo jumped out of the tall grass. Sudowoodo drove a hard bargain with his hard headbutts. The team desperately needed Sudowoodo to help fight Kabu. And their pleas were heard as Sudowoodo chose to come along in the end. Pykrete, the Sudowoodo, led the charge against Marnie, but tree frogs were scary, so he ran back to his Pokeball. Barrington did unspeakable things to that poor frog, not suited for video footage. Kickers kicked Scrafty, making him drop his pants and trip over himself. Cotton, who had been watching like a shepherd to her flock, came to their protection against the dangerous Hamtaro-class Pokemon, Morpeko. Barrington stood upright, flexing his muscles to evolve into Beware. The Fire Gym Challenge was up next. You needed to gather 5 points from battling and defeating or capturing Pokemon. All 3 encounters have a 35.2% base catch rate, and will be the Motostoke encounters for the Nuzlocke. The Spinner of Destiny would have to decide the fate of a new friend. Vulpix! The Fox Pokemon with the first encounter and chance to capture the rare Fire type. Thankfully, Vulpix happily jumped into the ball. Shippo might have been naive, but a fire burned inside the tiny fox for battle. 3 points to go. Sizzlipede was an easy 2 points with a netball and would be released after the gym. Watto, in an attempt to get the last point, bit into the burning candle Litwick and was burned for his actions, failing to get the KO as well. Pykrete tossed some rocks at a new Sizzlipede despite the burn, and Bites picked up the 5th gym point. It was time to walk out to the adoration of the crowd, harden my resolve, and battle the brutal Kabu in a duel of flame. It never really gets easier being in front of such a large crowd, but I had to be strong. Watto stared down Ninetales. Sparks and flames created a brilliant surge of beauty in the stadium from the clash of two powerful elemental Pokemon. Sending waves of electricity and suffering the burns, Watto took down Ninetales. Watto was weakened by his duel with Ninetales, and thus Arcanine made him quiver in fear. Kickers tried to fight the giant fire dog, but was unable to finish the job. With everyone else weakened by battle or vulnerable to the flames, Pykrete would have to fight sooner than expected. Borrowing Cotton's leftovers, Pykrete buried Arcanine under rubble, suffering a painful burn before the battle really began. Pykrete wasn't a real tree. It's hard to burn down Pykrete, for he is made of stone. "75 meters long, Gigantamax Centiskorch enveloped the stadium with thick smoke. Pykrete was tired of bugs. Pykrete wasn't a tree to be climbed on. Blowing the smoke away with a bellow, Pykrete prepared for a dangerous battle. A swarm of bugs enveloped Pykrete, biting and scratching at his hardened exterior. Smashing the ground, Pykrete retaliated with a monumental-sized rock to smash Centiskorch. Centiskorch barely shook off the attack. Pycrate's burn was showing in the weakened damage. A second round of bugs smashed into Pycrate, barely surviving the onslaught. Rocks fall. You fall. Centiscorch shrank to the tiny bug. Pycrate basked in the roar of the audience in his first victory in true battle. Kabu was defeated. I clasped his hand in mutual recognition of strength as my charm gained a third piece. 3 down, 5 to go.